the Lord. Good evening. It's always a joy, a privilege, and a wonderful opportunity to greet you each time we air the broadcast of Choices. We want to thank you again for spending some time with us. And I'm sure by now you've realized that we are in the month of September. And in the month of September, we look forward to the reopening of schools and tertiary institutions. What we've been noticing, however, over the past few months is the quantum loss of lives, especially among our young people. We say in so many different ways that young people are our future. And so obviously we are concerned about their growth, their development, so that they can continue to propel this country forward. But road accidents seem to be capturing the headlines of most of our dailies and also on social media. So this evening, we want to discuss and look at how we can really help parents, how we can help our young people, how we can even help our police officers, how we can help those who are responsible leaders in our society, how we can help, how we can suggest, how we can promote, more importantly, good road use discipline on the road. So stay with us and we will discuss and we are hopeful that you will find what we discuss quite helpful as we use the road safely and wisely. Stay tuned. God bless you.
You know, the recklessness that has been demonstrated in our country over a period of time has risen to an unprecedented level that we need to address. We cannot afford, and we've said this several times, to have the population being wiped out as a result of accidents and some of these behavior patterns that are not conducive to good living. And persons, every day you see it, there's a lack of regard for the danger and the consequences of our actions. Last night coming home, I saw a guy just beat the traffic light with a motorcycle. And the occupants of the vehicle, I told them that if he continues to do that, I asked my son, I said, what is the probability of this guy reaching 40 or 30 if he continues to operate like that? It means that he will die in a short time because of the lack of regard for danger and the consequences of their actions. I was told that the configuration of this city and some of the outskirts, don't matter how fast you go, you will never arrive at your destination in front of another person for more than a minute. Within it will be a 1 minute span. So I don't know if you've noticed, a man flies past you, and then within 30 seconds, you and the man reach at the same spot. So he has not really gained anything on you because of the configuration of the city, which it is what people do amongst the madness, because you're not really being successful by speeding. All you're doing is being successful by killing people and maybe yourself. And so there's a call for the gatekeepers to speak the same language in terms of persons taking responsibility. Parents, they are considered gatekeepers. What a gatekeeper does, the gatekeeper controls access to certain things. And so we have a responsibility as parents to control who goes through the door, who comes in, at what time, what do they get, and all of that. The police, they have a responsibility to charge and to write and to suspend and so on. And so some people get vexed, they get annoyed when the police take their course of action. They are gatekeepers. Teachers, what do we teach in school? The curriculum is so designed that we speak about road safety rules, how we need to conduct ourselves. The preachers in the church, they are gatekeepers. They talk about being responsible. Politicians are gatekeepers, the kind of policies and laws that are being passed. And so we have to find a way to have some kind of congruence in terms of all of these persons who have responsibility for controlling access to and from so that we could reduce the spate of madness that we see on the roads in our country. Gentlemen.
They said that speed thrills and kills. And while that might be so, I strongly believe that rules save lives. And whether we are using the roadway from an offensive or a defensive standpoint, we all must take responsibility for what we do. And we have clear guidance on how we should use the roadways. There are the 5 C's that has been set in place to guide us so that we can preserve our lives and the lives of others. So my word of encouragement to all road users is let us adhere to the rules that has been set in place so that we can preserve our lives and the lives of others, even as we go about our daily duties.
I drive myself. I use the road or roadways to go through the length and breadth of our nation as far as possible. I have a sense of what happens from my own personal observation. Right now, as we record this program, I remember that the person who is in charge of quality control, sitting listening to our recording, she left church along with another sister one night after recording a program that we call Nation Day, the very first Nation Day that we hosted at First Assembly. And neither of them got to where they had originally intended to go. They didn't get home that night. Our colleague was killed on the spot on North Road, and her body was badly mangled. But she survived by the grace of God. I drive. I'm intimidated by truck drivers. I drive. I'm intimidated by minibus drivers. I drive. And sometimes I get the distinct impression that some people want me to knock them down that day. The way how they keep coming in front of me. And like they begging me, jam me, sir. Mr. Jam me. And therefore, one has got to keep one's focus. We are challenging us. Human life is precious. Human life is valuable. So yeah, we're talking to you. We are speaking, we are appealing to you. Truck driver, minibus driver, car driver, motorcycle rider, pedestrian, cyclists. We are making an appeal to you. Let's see how much we can save lives using our own sphere of influence. Yeah.
Get the sense we are touching the very core of our cultural development. And I say that for us to be examining the subject of recklessness, it tells me that in our society, we need our gatekeepers to speak. When I heard Dr. Hudson spoke to the subject of recklessness, I went immediately and decided to pull what does it really mean? And it says it is a lack of regard for danger, a consciousness that you can do anything without any consequence. It speaks of rashness of action. Some synonyms that they used is disrespect, disregard, abandon, foolhardiness. It seems as if these definitions are true, the problem is deeper and is reflected in the way we use the road. Somehow all of us, and I say mommy, teachers, all of us somehow have to find a way in which, in changing the way we help our road users to use the road. Yesterday, for example, I sat among some young men and I used an example that I learned from Dr. Hudson. I was telling them what his father said to him. And when I came to the part about walk on the right-hand side of the road, I was shocked that the majority of them didn't know on which side of the road you should walk on. Well, it's just a demonstration that we have much work in cultivating the positive culture we need to survive as a people.
You know, I want to talk to our young people today. Lots of our young people and people generally, they, as it relates to the use of the road, lots of our young people love to press the issue. They love to mash the accelerator, so to speak. They love to test the limits. And while that is euphoric, while that in itself brings some kind of pleasure, we have to be responsible for our actions, because we're talking about parents being responsible, teachers and so on, to teach and to empower young people. But the young people also must be equally responsible to ensure that what is being taught, that they put into practice. For example, parents repose trust in their children. They repose a confidence in their children to socialize, to attend social activities and so events unsupervised. Now, as a young person, as a young responsible person, you must be able to manage that trust that is reposed in you. So somebody in the group must be sensible enough to say, hey, this is nonsense. Let us be careful. If we're to value friendship, if we're to value life, if we're to value social relations, we have to think and act responsibly. Somebody got to say, hey, you got to stop drinking. Hey, you got to stop smoking. You got to stop speeding. Somebody in the group must be able, because if we don't, it can contribute to the demise of everybody. So we are pleading with young people and people in general. Please let us take responsibility as people, as we're all working together to curb this danger. Let us all take responsibility for our lives.
And the one of the questions I'm always asked, do you have your passport? Do you have your ticket? Do you have, and the different things that I might have to show? Perhaps we need to let young people know, when you sit in the car, the first question you need to ask the driver, do you have a license? Before we go, you're going to the creek, say, you got a license? You know, I think it's a very important question to ask. You're going on a family outing and a young man says, I can drive. Do you have a license? That's what we need. I want to suggest that. We must ask that question. Do you have insurance?
And also, you know, young people are asking their parents increasingly, perhaps given the fact that we have more and more disposable income, to purchase for them vehicles. That was distant when I was a child. I mean, you consider only adults or people whose pockets are well lined to purchase, to have vehicles. But increasingly, that is becoming more and more the standard practice. And just like how parents are meticulous in teaching the alphabet to their young children, B comes after A. I think similarly, they must ensure that our young people are properly licensed. That is, they go through the training and they don't buy their license, but they earn it because they have completed the proper training, the requisite training. And then you consider purchasing a vehicle, not the vehicle before our young people has been, they would have been properly licensed?
I'm reading from afar and I'm looking in and I'm reading, and I woke up over the weekend and early this week, and I'm seeing all of this carnage on the roadway. And most of them, a large majority, if not all of them, were youth, 17, 21 or something like that. That age range. And I'm thinking, what is happening? Where is all of this coming from? Who was wrong? What happened? I read someone is trying to overtake. I read someone jump the median. And how did we get here? I'm thinking. I live in a country now that it is so, it's totally different to Guyana, but it also affects Guyanese. You see, driving on the roadway is not only about driving in your own country. It has, what should I say? It has significant impact in other facets of life. Driving on the roadway would impact our tourism. We speak about gatekeepers. Now, who would want to come to your country if there's this apparent lawlessness on your roadways? Everyone does what they want to do. It seems as if there's no control, there's no guidance there. The law is not being upheld. The policemen are one of our gatekeepers, as we heard at the beginning of the program. Now, how can we help the police? How can we help the teachers? How can we help the children themselves? The children must begin from the very first time they come to school. They must begin to interact with the police as to how to use the road. The police must come. The policemen and women must come to the schools from what is nursery and then primary. They must come, not when they turn teenagers only, but they must come and they must interact. It must become normal. When the police come to the school, this is one example that I see, and it's working. And they interact. This is how you use the road when you're using a bicycle. This is how you ride when you're traversing, when you have to cross a pedestrian crossing. This is what you do, and it is ingrained. What am I saying? I would like to see a cultural change. So it starts with school and the policemen and the teachers working together. And as time is carved out in our so busy schedule, we always have time to go to lessons. Make this a lesson. And it starts from the very young age, from primary. And this message is taught and retaught until this is one way. I mean, we can go into we can discuss so much. I would like to see a time, what's the word I'm looking for? A culture of timeliness. In Caribbean, we always last minute. That's what we say, man, you know how we stay. No. On the roadway, we cannot be last minute. We need to leave earlier, half an hour before, an hour before. If you know it's going to take you 1 hour to get there, leave an hour and a half before. It is not fashionable to come late or be late and dashing and squeezing. And no, change the culture, make it a culture of timeliness.
If you're late, you're late. You understand me? You can't be late and early, because if you speed, you get yourself into trouble. I see the motorbike people now, they're not wearing any helmet. So when they get in an accident, they mess up the skull, the face, and everything. Now, in my school time, police, women and men used to come to the school, and you had a sign they used to carry out on the road to the children to cross over, and you have a orange belt straight across, and you would go and stand up there, and
Stop.
when the
Children.
stop sign, yeah.
Yeah.
People coming from right and people coming from left, they would stop, and the school children would pass. They would come to the school and tell you about how to use the road and all these things. But no, it looked like everything fall apart.
Campaign, And I think we need to move in that direction where we have a massive road safety campaign. It's not like we've not been doing it, but I always tell people that the issue is consistency. Sometimes we do things and we start and we stop. We have to be very consistent. You see, those vehicles got certain things that are so designed to protect us. For example, the seat belt. All right. And you know, we hear people flying through windows and so on. I mean, I'm in England and I'm in a back seat. And the person said, I am not moving until you put on your seatbelt. That is what I was told. So I had to put on my seatbelt. Now you have vehicles talking to you. The vehicles refusing to really move ahead before you put on your seatbelts and so on. So these things are there for us to really apply them. The other thing is, I think, I mean, this might be a little graphic, but sometimes audiovisual, they do a number on our minds. If we were to put together a series of visuals to show people the consequences of speed, how people end up, you know, I don't know, but sometimes we need to bring it home to people, because we just dismiss it. A man died, we say, oh, one died, but you never see how he died. You never saw the consequences of his actions, and you put like a collage, like a set of these videos together, and part of the education program, maybe that might serve as a veteran, but we need to still utilize those facilities that the vehicles would have given to us. To save our lives.
One is too many. The reports are that by the 8th month, we are not even finished to the 8th month, that 109 persons lost their lives. Some were mangled, and it is painful to watch, not just the waste, but the manner in which those lives are lost. And all of us are consumed by this, from mommy to daddy to brother to sister to hire car driver, minibus driver, conductor, all of us, pedestrian, all of us are consumed by this. And so my encouragement is those fundamental rules like care and courtesy, consideration, common sense. Yes, those things are so vital. When I go on the road now, I tell myself, you are driving to save lives, not just your own. And we all must develop that sense of responsibility to allow this madness to die.
You know, we're talking about navigating in a hostile environment, and you're talking about hostility. This is serious, man. And you know, what came to mind is a quote that we would normally use from time to time on Choices, which says the greatest government, you know, is not the government that we might be accustomed to, led by the political directorate, but the greatest government is self-government. You know, refuse to have to allow people to impose restrictions on you and laws to curb certain behavior patterns. I mean, that's like push come to shove, you know, but the greatest government, people, or Guyanese, wherever you're from, you're using the road, is self-government. Dr. Hudson, you talk about a simple thing as putting on a seatbelt. I mean, you're going to wait for a police officer to stop you and charge you because you don't have on a seatbelt. Put on your seatbelt, you know, be responsible, take that initiative, because, you know, you're not only protecting you, you're protecting every other person, you know, around you. And then once you take that step, you take responsibility for those that are around you. Teach them to take responsibility. It has to start from somewhere, bro. It has to start from somewhere.
And even when you're cautious on the road, it's important for you not only to drive with being courteous when you're driving, but it's also important for you to look out for those who may not be as courteous as you on the road, because it could still cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair the damage of persons who were not being careful on the road. In addition to that, if you have to go into the police station, that's half a day, sometimes days, and if it's a more serious offense, it could go on for weeks or months. So it's not only about, it's definitely about saving lives, but it's also about you more efficiently using your time and you being able to save your resources and avoid unnecessary expenses. That's some things that we should consider, especially as young persons with vehicles. Look out not only for your safety, but look out for those who may be using the road recklessly especially because with the amount of persons right now in the city, the amount of persons with access to vehicles in the country, our roads were specifically and scientifically designed to match a certain number of persons. And the safety measures that we have in place were designed with a smaller population in mind. So as we grow and as we expand, we have to keep in mind that those safety regulations that we already have in place, they might need to be reconsidered given the boom of population that we're going through right now.
Well, in addition to everything, I endorse everything that my colleagues said here this evening. And you play a vital role. You may not be driving a car, but you're a passenger in a minibus. Driver, you have the authority to say, driver, slow down, publicly, or tap him on the shoulder. Or in a private vehicle, you also have that authority to say, slow down. Or the vigilance in the city of uniformed officers, this must be distributed also throughout where there are roadways, where people live. And I know we have a high population of people moving back and forth in the city, but they should also be not only in daylight, nighttime, to be able to help. Let's come down to the final thing. You heard it. I'm going to reiterate it. The highest form of government, of human government, is not obtained at a ballot, an election. It is self-government, self-control. That's the highest form. This is an appeal from Choices to all of you, all road users, whether you're walking, riding a pedal cycle, or you're driving. Please save your life and save the lives of others. Our sympathy to all those families who have lost children, relatives, all those communities. May God bless you. See you next week.
We thank you for joining us on Choices today. Remember, you can join us at First Assembly, LNP Durban Street, Workmanville, Georgetown, Guyana, for any of our special services. I'm Celicia on behalf of the set, reminding you that your whole life is the sum of your choices. God bless you.